welcome to a new episode of Review. Today we will take a closer look at a Boeing 777-200ER in the current livery of Alitalia. And as always, we start off with the box, and here we can see in the front side we have the cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft inside. We have the Alitalia branding, the SkyTeam logo, and the Etihad Equity Partners logo. More on that in just a second, because firstly we take a look at the backside of the box, and here we have a very nice image of the aircraft itself, and we are provided with a link by Herpa where we can get more information about the aircraft itself. So that's it for the box. Let's take a closer look inside and at the aircraft model itself. And here she is, the Boeing 777-200ER in this really fantastic livery of Alitalia. The airline is of course the flag carrier of Italy and is or was a member of the Etihad Airways Equity Partners, an loose attempt from Etihad Airways of creating their own airline alliance with airlines that they had purchased. Now Alitalia is broke, not the first time in their history, and the airline's future seems more uncertain than ever before. But enough about that. With no further ado, let's take a closer look at some of the many details this aircraft model has to offer. And as always, we start off with the tail section of the aircraft, where we can see along the fuselage and on the vertical stabilizer we have the Alitalia branding. On top of the stabilizer we then have the last two letters of the registration code. The full registration code can be found on the fuselage, where we also have the aircraft type specification. If we move from the back of the aircraft all the way to the front of the aircraft, we can see along the fuselage we have the Alitalia branding. We also have the SkyTeam logo, of which Alitalia is a member, and just underneath that we have the aircraft name. In this case, the aircraft is named after Madonna di Campiglio. But we find some more details around the cockpit window of this aircraft that originally was introduced into the Alitalia fleet in 2002. For example, above the cockpit windows we have the last two letters of the registration code. We also have the window wipers printed on. Then we can take a look at the engines of this aircraft model. Here the engine nacelles, which have been given the same nice grey-white color that the fuselage has. But I do have a slight problem here. The engines are supposed to be GE90s, but they just don't quite look right. I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually quite like the way they look. They look nice, the details are nice, we have the engine fan blades and everything, but they just don't seem to have the right shape. They seem a little bit too squeezed compared to the originals. Now, this is not a specific problem for this one aircraft model, but actually a general problem for all Herpa Wings 777 models. Now, where I can't fault Herpa are the wings. They do look, in my opinion, really nice. We have all the different flaps, slats and spoilers. We have the Alitalia branding and the full registration code of the aircraft. That we can also find on the underside of the aircraft. But there we come to the next problem of this aircraft model. It's the belly, where we have the Alitalia branding, which once again has simply been ruined by Herpa by adding this hole into the fuselage for a stand, which has not been included with this aircraft model. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartment printed on here on the back side of the aircraft and here in the front side of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 777-200ER in the current livery of Alitalia. Now, this one is a difficult one for me because I actually quite like this aircraft model, especially the livery. That alone is simply for me enough to buy it. But it does have some problems as well. Now, the engines, of course, they are simply not correct. They are not true to scale. They are too squeezed. Me personally, I actually quite like the way they look. They have some nice details, but they are not true to scale. And that is a problem not specific for this aircraft model, but across all 777s of Herpa in the scale 1 to 500. And then, of course, the unforgivable fact that they simply destroy a detail on the belly for a hole in the fuselage, which is pointless when you have no stand for it. So, is this an aircraft model that I would recommend? Yes and no. If you can live with these two issues, the engines and the hole in the fuselage, then yes, it's really nice looking. If you can't, then it's not the one for you. Now, with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed, do feel free to leave a like. That would be very nice. With that, you support the series and the channel. And if you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome, and you won't miss out on any future reviews. Also, in the next episode, we will take a closer look at a Boeing 727-200C in the colors of UPS. Now, until then, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.